Hey everybody, it's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It is another episode of Let's Talk Phys Ed with Jason and Tanner. Let's Talk Phys Ed is a show where we get to know some of the most influential Phy Ed and health ed teachers in the world. I am Jason Steele. I am your host. With me, as always, my co-host Tanner Roast. Tanner, how's it going today?
Oh, things are good. Hey, I just got back from the IA for student workshop tonight, and I wanted to let you know that during my session on technology, I showed them that Chatterpix video of your dog Ford talking about the ND Shape Convention, and the room loved it. It was probably the best part of my presentation,
The room loved it. The room full of how many, Tanner?
just for sure.
Couldn't hear you. Poor reception.
Probably.
Oh, there you go.
No reception? Lower than 200.
Lower than 200. Oh.
Yeah.
That's all right. Hey, that's awesome. I'm glad that Ford could make an appearance in Iowa. He's been a real pain in my you-know-what in my backyard these last few days, barking at everything. So we'll have an apology video from him shortly. But everybody, this is season 2, episode 25. We are joined today by the one and only B. Wolff, Brandon Wolff. I call him B. Wolff because I had a buddy in high school. His name was Brandon Wolff, and we called him B. Wolff. He is now a priest. B. Wolff went the other way. Here he is a Phy Ed teacher. So, Brandon Wolff, welcome. Thank you. Tell us who you are, what you do, where you teach. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yes, so I teach in Wichita, Kansas. I teach at May South Middle School. It's a 6th through 8th grade building. I've been teaching for almost 20 years now. In 2014, I was Middle School Teacher of the Year for Kayford. And then I was in 2015 Central District Teacher of the Middle School Teacher of the Year. I serve on the Central District Leadership Council. I'm on my own Kayford exec board. Do a little PYFP training. I also do a little bit help with IHT heart rate monitors around the state as well. So yeah, I just kind of dove into some different things to try to get myself a little bit better at this profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, the Central District leadership thing, that's where we met for the first time. And it was kind of awkward for me because I had known who you were from Twitter, but I think I played it pretty cool. I'm like, oh yeah, hey, Brandon Wolff, like, yeah, nice to meet you. So are you like on Twitter? Even though I already knew it. But I think he did the same to me. I think he knew who I was too, but
absolutely.
We played it cool.
Yeah.
So let's start with the questions. Let's start with the obvious one. Like, you just went to Puerto Rico with like a whole bunch of students. You do this like every year or every 2 years or something like that. Tell us what you were doing over there, how it was, what you did. This is an awesome thing that you're doing over here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It started this whole just vision of doing something where we're helping other schools in need started about 5 years ago. It was a long-term goal when I put my Let's Move Club together in my school. My Let's Move Club is a group of about 15 to 18 kids that I see every day for about 35 minutes. And we work on trying to improve physical education and physical activity within our school. So that's kind of where it really started. But my long-term goal was that I wanted to take a group of kids and I wanted to give them an opportunity to get some physical activity that they can't do in Kansas. So if that was whitewater rafting or skiing or surfing, I wanted to do something where they could get some different experiences. So that's kind of where it started. And I didn't know if I'd ever get there, but it was kind of a pipe dream. And then as my club grew, when I first started the club, I was telling my middle schoolers, I was like, hey, I'm doing this Let's Move Club. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, really, it's going to be really cool. You should give it a try. And I didn't get anybody to sign up. And so I actually handpicked about 12 kids that would not be afraid to get in front of people because I was going to have them do some presentations. We did a lot of brain boosts, a lot of different things within our school. And then just this last just this last year, it went from, now I have an application process. So I had about 250 applicants for this season, or for this year that I just went through now. So it really grew really quickly. And so how Puerto Rico came into play was last year or 2 years ago, my club got really popular with my kids. And so my principal asked, is there a way for more kids to be involved? Well, I couldn't take very many during the school day or during my class, because I would just be, run a ragged with too many kids. I was trying to make sure that they're on task. So I did what is called a member at large. So these kids I would see only once a month for about 35 minutes. And so we did signups. Anybody could sign up for this member at large. And I had 450 kids sign up. So once a month, I see 450 kids. And I do a lot of different things. I bring a lot of community members in. We did like a Zumba one day. We had somebody come in for karate, and just kind of did some different physical activities with the kids at my member at large. And then I thought, man, I have this army of kids. This might be a really good opportunity to use them for good. And so that's where Puerto Rico came into play. It was 2 years ago when they were hit with Hurricane Maria. And I had found out through our CAFERD board that a lot of schools down there had lost a lot of PE equipment. And so as CAFERD, we were packing some stuff up and sending down there already. And so I thought, man, this would be a really good way for my 450 members to really help and impact some schools. So we did a fundraiser. So I brought all the 450 kids in. I kind of talked to them about Hurricane Maria, told them a little bit about what was going on. And I said, hey, if everybody can bring $1, let's just bring $1. That's $450. We can spend it on some equipment, and we can send it down there. And so in about 2 weeks, we had $2,500 that we fundraised from our kids. And so I had this money. So now what do I do with it? And that's where I kind of ran into some people, got to talking with some people down there in Puerto Rico through Vicki Whirl, who was our former executive director. And they said they really wanted some curriculum stuff, not jump ropes, not playground balls. They really wanted something that they could teach with a curriculum based. And so that's why spike ball came into play last year. Because it would be a great thing for kids to do. It can be played anywhere, grass, sand, concrete, because a lot of those schools down there don't have gyms. So that's kind of how I ran into Skylar Bowles. Skylar Bowles says, I would love to help however we can. They gave me a great deal. And then he was the one that says to me at Nashville, he said, how are you going to teach it? And I said, well, maybe I was going to Skype. We were going to do some Skyping maybe with some schools. I didn't know. And he goes, you should go teach it. And I thought, trigger, when a light bulb went off, I went, wow, this is our opportunity. And so I went back and I threw some stuff down on paper, went to my administrator, said, can I take my club to Puerto Rico? Love to teach it down there. And it just kind of snowballed, and we put it together, and I got a bunch of sponsors to come down there with me. And we went down to some schools in Puerto Rico, and we gave them a bunch of spike ball sets and taught them during some assemblies, and it was amazing.
That is so cool. And I know, for our viewers right now, they're going, wow, that's unreal. If they didn't know that already, I know that we had talked about it before when we were in Sioux Falls, and I fell in love with the idea. I volunteered to go with the Puerto Rican room for me. But can you tell us a little bit about what you did this year then, who you brought with you this year and what you did?
So it was great. And my club members that were here for me last year said, Coach, let's do this again. And my parents were like, let's do this again. Yeah. And I always like to tell the story. I had a grandpa that went down there with me, and I didn't know him because he was from another city in Wichita, in Kansas, that he came in because his grandson was going. And so he's kind of this rough, tough guy, I was like, man, this guy's going to maybe be hard to kind of talk to, because he just seems really, I don't know what the word is, but he just was kind of just this short, tough, rough looking guy. And so he came along, and he ended up being awesome. And we got down there, and we went to the second day, we went to a school, and it was one of the hardest hit elementary schools down there in Puerto Rico. And a lot of the kids down there did not, well, the kids at that school, what we went down there, did not speak any English, so they're just Spanish speaking. And so what was so great about the school that we partnered with, which is Coupeville down there, they were our headquarters. They spoke English and Spanish. So their kids went with our kids to schools, and they were the ones that translated for what we were saying. So we worked together to teach other elementary kids how to play this game. And so he's down there, and we had this, we broke up into small groups, and we were teaching these elementary kids, and they were just glowing and smiling ear to ear and having so much fun. And I walked over, and he has this elementary kid, and he's bringing him over. Well, the kid happened to be deaf. And so Mike, who are my sponsor then, this just burly, this tough, rough guy, was over there, and he's helping this student get a chance to hit the spike ball into the net. And I walk over to him, and he kind of steps away from me, and he puts his arm around me, and he starts to cry, and he says, "Coach, this is one of the most amazing experiences I've ever done, and I want to go back to my town. I want to load up as much equipment as possible, and I want to fly back, and I want to give this to kids." And it was just one of those moments that I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. And just gave me goosebumps from hearing him talk about how impactful, not only was it for our kids, but how impactful it was for my sponsors. And so I knew this was something that I needed to continue to do. It was not a one and done thing. And so this year we went as Team Paddle Slam, because Paddle Slam was a perfect opportunity again for a game down there where there isn't a lot of, there's no gym space. It's just courtyard space where they could set it up and they could play. And so Robert from Paddle Slam he reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, I would love, if you're going back to Puerto Rico, I'd love to help however I can." And so Robert was just instrumental in helping us get those Paddle Slam sets to Puerto Rico, and he's been a huge help. And I actually want to shout out to Kerboom Kids from New York, Herschel Anthony. If you guys don't know who he is, you should look him up. He went down there with us, and he does this school program called Kerboom Kids, and it's a dance program, and he's high energy, and he's trying to filter it out to other schools. And so he actually went down on his own time, and so we tag teamed it. So we started with the Kerboom Kids dance, and then Paddle Slam, and then we ended it with the Kerboom Kids dance. And he was just high energy, super influential. The kids loved him down there. And so it was just this year was just awesome. And we hit so many more schools, and we just got the place erupting with just laughter and fun. And it was a great, great time.
Too cool.
That is amazing. That story gave me chills down my legs, the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
We can just end the show right here at this point.
We're
not going to.
Okay. I'll move on. Hey, you told us that in 2015 you were the Central District Toy, and I'm guessing that opened the door for a lot of cool opportunities and places to present. Well, Puerto Rico was one of them. Can you tell us about some of the other things that you've been able to do in the last couple of years because of these accomplishments?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a whirlwind for sure. When I first got to Seattle, Washington, was my very first national convention, because I was up for National Middle School Teacher of the Year. And so here's this guy from Wichita, Kansas, going up to Seattle, Washington, and not knowing a whole lot of people. I mean, I just kind of encased myself into what I do, and I wasn't on Twitter or Facebook or anything. I just did my thing. And going to Seattle was just it was a amazing experience. I can't really put it into words. I met so many people. One of the person I have to shout out here is Lynn Burrows. I don't know if you know Lynn from Colorado, but she is amazing. So she was elementary at the time. I was middle school at the time, and we kind of connected. And we're in the lobby in the Seattle, in the hotel room up in Seattle, and she's talking with me, and she's like, "Hey, so what's your Twitter handle?" And I'm like, "I don't have it." And she's like, "What?" So she grabs my phone, This is a true story. So Lynn grabs my phone, and she's just is like, okay, we're sending you up right now. We're going to get you ready to roll. So she's just like typing all this stuff in. She's like, hey, what's your name? Blah, 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 blah. All right, you're in. Now you've got it. And she's like, okay, you probably don't have Boxer either. Okay, here, let me see your phone. Let's download this app. So she's like, boom, boom, boom. And she's setting me up with all this stuff. She's like, turn the notifications off on Boxer because it's going to be super annoying. And you can't go to sleep because it's just going to go off and off and off. And so in Seattle, I just met so many wonderful people that were willing just to reach out and say, there it is. So it was one of those where I really was able to meet a lot of cool people, and the relationships just continued and they grew, and those relationships turned into other people's relationships because you just meet and greet and you just start forming these bonds. And I was so humbled to go up there to hear what all these teachers up there that are up for this award. I'm like, I'm not even close to being in this category. You guys are amazing. You do unbelievable things. And so it was really cool to be able to see and hear what they do some presentations up there. And so from there, it just kind of blossomed, from Colorado conventions to Central District to now every national convention since. Just been able to really go up to Wyoming, and then here this year I'll be going to Missouri and going to Iowa. So I'm just really excited to be able to come in and share and learn from really cool people. So it's just been, it's really helped. It's been a game changer for me. It really has. It's been a game changer to be able to meet people that really are in love with this profession and really want to make themselves and other people better.
That's awesome. And while you just mentioned you were in Wyoming, now I think I might be going to Wyoming this year. And now I'm like even more nervous than I was before because now I got to follow up Wolff.
Oh,
like,
no, you'll be amazing.
The B team, there you go.
Shoot.
So we're gonna go off script here a little bit, and Tanner doesn't know this, but every once in a while I like to throw a wrench in the questions. And so the next question was, we were gonna ask who your favorite character was in The Office, assuming you watch The Office, because everybody should watch The Office because The Office.
Well, I watched you guys last week with Joe, and
okay.
I'm with him. I'm not an Office watcher. Sorry. You're 0 for 2 right now.
Okay.
I apologize.
Well, then it's a good thing we were going off script. It's a good thing we were going to go off script because I was going to say, who is your favorite character in Parks and Rec? I'm hoping you watch that show too. Come on.
I don't.
Do people not know what good TV is? Okay, well, the reason why we were going to go off script there was because when you were talking about who is the guy from New York that came with?
Kershal Anthony.
And he works for who?
He has this program called Kerboom Kids.
Okay.
Kerboom.
And I'm going to look that up, but it got me thinking, like, from Parks and Rec, there was this really excited, flamboyant guy where they build this park, and his company was called Kaboom. And what people would say, they're like, what should we do with these swings? And he's like, you kaboom it! You kaboom it! Well, it turned out he was just like this fake guy that went around like making other people spend money to put up parks. Well, so I was just going to ask who your favorite character is, because Rob Lowe is literally my favorite character in that show. And if you haven't watched Parks and Rec, then you don't get the joke.
I'll put it on my list.
Put it on your list. I want a full rundown in Tampa.
Oh, okay. I'll get to watching.
So we're pretty bad at these questions this week, aren't we? I mean, it's like, how about we ask that question that we did Melanie Levenberg? She couldn't answer the phone question. What is the app or the game that you play on your phone? Like, you're sitting there in the airport, you're waiting for supper to cook. Like, what's your phone game?
You know, I just downloaded some to go to Puerto Rico with on my phone, and I want to say the name of it is, it's a simple game too. Oh, it's Golf Crash, or the golf game where you can
Golf Clash.
Yes, that's what it is. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
We can Golf Clash together.
There you go. So I started playing that. I was like, this is kind of a cool game. So
All right. Do you have
and
others
then the
that
kids of course said no, you need to. And then they of course ran off a bunch of things that I don't have on my phone that I need to play. So they are the experts, of course.
do you have other fun games on your phone?
Um, I've got trying to think what other ones that I have on there. Um, I can't think of it off the top of my head. I don't have my phone with me. I could just tell you, but I did two of them. I think two or three of them that I downloaded, and I think I only played the golf one. I don't even think I opened up the other two.
Because once you start playing golf class,
Yeah, it was just addicting. I was just like,
I know.
Jason, what's your phone game right now?
there was one that was you were a triangle and you had to jump things. I don't know the name of it, but you had to like.
You got me on that one.
It was kind of addicting. It was really simple, but it was kind of like you would die. Your triangle would explode, and then you had to start back. And then forgot the name of it though.
I got to be honest. I'm a golf clasher too on my phone, Tanner. Because I knew you were going to ask. But there's one called Fishing Clash too. I don't know that all the best games are like Clash, like
Yeah.
Golf Clash, Fishing Clash, Clash of Clans, right?
They're gonna Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans. I was pretty good, but then I stopped. Had more important things to do, like interview people on Sundays. So tomorrow's April Fool's Day. Be Wolff.
Yes.
What are some of the best April Fool's gags you've played on people or had played on you? Give me the best one.
Oh man. Let's see. I've had they're not really great, but because it kind of gets old, but like I'm expecting this tomorrow is like the kids are going to go down like with an injury
Right.
or something, and they're going to be like, oh coach, and then so I'm kind of ready for it, because they usually will try like all of a sudden they'll and then I'll walk over to make sure they're okay, and then they're like, oh, we got you.
Because like the one time that you don't, they actually will.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So they'll try their best tomorrow. I know. I'm just ready for it.
I'm sure I'll get those ones too. I'm pretty sure my son Grayson. Did you know we both have sons named Grayson? Have you seen that episode?
I've been on 8 of them, so that's because you keep telling everybody.
We both have sons named Grayson. Both of them are 9. Which is wild because we only met like a year and a half ago. But I'm pretty sure my Grayson, planned one for me for tomorrow, but he got me with it today. So like one of our favorite candies, believe it or not, I know this is going to sound weird, but do you know like what Red Hots are?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I love them. He likes them too. So like, my mom, his grandma, got him a box of Red Hots, and he put them on the shelf. But he put them like he opened the bottom of it and then put it on there. So then when I went to pick them up to eat them, like I picked them up like this, they just went whoosh all over the floor. I'm pretty sure he did it.
How many did you eat after that?
I did eat a few of them because I had just cleaned the floor. The floor was clean.
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
Don't you think sometimes though that social media has kind of ruined some of April Fools? Like, because they've all seen them. Like the one with you can put the quarter or the penny in the water bottle. Yeah, that's a good one.
You squirt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the kids were trying to do that to me one day at school. They're like, "Hey, coach, and I'm like, I've seen it. Like I saw it on social media. Like I saw it on somebody posted it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you're like, you're hopefully you get somebody that just doesn't ever go watch anything on social media. Then maybe you can get them.
Right.
So my family, the thing they do is they put a clear piece of tape on the sprayer in the sink.
Yeah. So then
when I turn on the water, it sprays me, and it's not an April Fool's Day thing. It's like it's like when is the most annoying time to spray Dad? So I pour the water, and it's like, it's gotta go within 5 minutes.
You finish that sentence, Tanner.
We don't swear in my house when the kids are awake. Wait till they go to bed. But that's often, and I'm guessing it's happening tomorrow. So,
Yeah, check this faucet thing.
yeah.
That's a good one. I might have to get my wife with that one.
She won't like it. Nobody likes it.
Well, nobody likes an April Fool's joke, Tanner. That's why it's funny.
Okay. Well, hey, you know how opening day was this week for baseball?
Yeah.
So the Cubs started off real hot. Haven't been so hot this week. I know the Cubs and your Braves are going to play. I think tomorrow they start. So Brandon, who's your team, and who's your favorite player? And then I want to know who's winning the World Series this year.
Well, I'm going to do my best at this because I don't watch much baseball. I'm a basketball fanatic. But being from here, Kansas City, even though lately they haven't been so hot, they had their little hot streak about a few years ago. So, they're probably going to be a team that I kind of watch just because they're close. They're close by, and I've gone to a few games. But favorite player, I don't really have one in baseball. So I'm kind of –
All right, then I got this. How about this? How about we erase that question, and I start baseball players, and you have to tell me what team they're on.
Oh, yeah, let's I'm going to jack this up. Good, let's go.
All right. Jason, we'll tag team this one. Bryce Harper.
He went to a new team. Is it the Phillies?
He did. All right, Jason, you throw out a name.
That was because it was on ESPN, so I was able to catch that.
He hit a home run like an hour ago.
All right. Now all of a sudden I can't think of any players. Ken Griffey Jr.
Seattle.
He hasn't played in 15
He was. Yeah.
He was on the bed.
He was on Seattle too.
Oh, jeez. All right, this question's great too. So, all right. We're moving on, Jason. It's your turn.
Oh, my question. Okay,
Yeah.
So this is coming. Who is this question from again, Tanner? You had met with some people today in your Iowa thing, and they sent you a question over. Who'd this come from?
This was Chris.
This is from Chris. Okay.
Okay.
And so I apologize for this. This was my
Go ahead.
This is my fault in Sioux Falls. Okay. But
Okay.
Chris wants to know if you've been able to sleep on a top bunk lately.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I didn't know that was gonna stick. Like he thought okay, can we tell the viewer
Yeah, go ahead and tell the story.
Wondering what's going on.
Tell them.
Okay.
I didn't know what was going on.
Everybody's wondering what's going on. But okay, so in Sioux Falls, we're hanging out. Remind me of who's there. It's you, myself, Dr. Joe Deutsch from Fargo.
Yep.
Clayton is there.
Clayton. Yep.
Who else is there? There
Was
a whole handful of people.
Yeah.
I'm like totally spacing now.
I am too.
But anyway, Chris was there, obviously, because he thought this was hilarious. Jamie Sparks.
Jamie was there. Yeah.
So it was summertime, and we're walking to an establishment, and you've got sandals on, and I noticed your feet because you're a tall guy, right? Like, how tall are you?
6'4".
Okay, so he's got, big feet too to go along with that 6'4" frame. But I made fun of your toes because they seemed so long to me. He's gonna show us. And
now I figured this was gonna come up, so I was ready for this.
and Clayton started laughing. And anytime you get Clayton laughing, you just got to keep it going because, like, clearly it's funny.
Yes.
And then I think I mentioned the fact that, like, you'd never be able to sleep on the top bunk with Tulsa. And immediately I felt bad. I really did. But Chris thought it was a good one. And clearly it's
And Clayton says, now I'm LT.
LT Wolff. It's not that they're like incredibly long, just they're longer than my toes. And I thought I don't know. Yeah. And then you sent me a picture of you and Bigfoot.
Yes.
That was
side by side.
Side by side. I got a picture like a couple weeks later or a week later of Brandon and Bigfoot. That was funny. I laughed at that one. But to this day, I will apologize every time I see you. But
no, that was a great time.
Still good.
That was a great time.
So before Tanner, this is your question.
Speaking of funny stuff, why don't you tell us the funniest thing that's ever happened in your classroom? Whether it was something that happened to you or a kid did something.
Oh, man.
That go-to, you've been in it for 20 years. Tell us that go-to.
Yeah.
Story.
Well, the time's clicking, so I'm going to try to be fast on this because I see my 5 minutes warning here. So I have to. This is funny now, but it wasn't funny back then. But my story's got to be during my student teaching. Actually, believe it or not, let's pull this all the way to the very beginning. So I'm student teaching at a high school, and it's my very first day, and I show up, and as I get there, my mentor teacher is not there. She's actually going to be absent that day. So as I walk in there, I'm in there with these two other PE teachers, and they're reading their newspaper, and I'm knocking on the locker room door, and they're not answering it. They're not opening it. They see me, but they think it's probably a kid, so they don't even open it. So I knock again, and eventually I get them to open it. And I said, hey, by the way, I'm student teaching here. And they're like, oh, yeah, she's gone and blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And they said, perfect. You could just sub for her. And in my brain, as I'm going through, I'm going, no, I can't. That's like against the rules. I know it was in the handbook, so I'm freaking out, but I don't want to say no because these are like two PE teachers that have been there forever. So they start calling on the phone and go to the office, and they said, hey, by the way, we got the student teacher. He'll just take the classes. Well, luckily a sub had shown up, and so I was safe. But the story only gets worse as we get done with that first class. I'm in the office, and they go, oh, hey, by the way, go into the gym where all the kids are. When the bell rings, then they all will leave. You just go in there, just make sure everything's going okay. So I walk in there, and there's probably about 200 kids in this gym waiting for the bell to go off. And I'm kind of talking with some different kids. Well, I get tapped on the shoulder by a student. They said, you might want to take care of this. And they point up, and these bleachers when they're pulled in, are really, really high. And so I look up there, and there's a kid walking at the very, very top back and forth. And so I'm like, what do I do? So I look up and I go, get down from there. I mean, as breaking of a voice I could get. And he looks over at me, and he gives me the one finger salute. And I'm like, okay, that's not in a handbook that I read. I don't really know what to do. And so all the kids, all about 200 of them, start saying, jump, 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 jump. And so he's at the very top, and he's doing this. And I'm going, I'm going to get fired, and I'm not even hired. Like, I don't know what, and so I am literally freaking out. And so I'm like, get down, please, get down. I'm like trying to get this kid to come down. Well, finally, when the other PE teachers walked in there, and he's like, get down from there right now. Anyway, he takes care of it. So that was just part of my first day, but it was probably one of those days that I always tell my student teachers when they come in, because I'm like, look, if you will be able to survive this day, because here's the day I had my first day. So it's kind of a funny story, but at that time it wasn't too funny. But
that's awesome. So Brandon Wolff, everybody, B Wolff, he made it through episode. What do we got here? Episode 25 of season 2. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. As always, we want everybody to kind of talk their way out. So how can we get a hold of you? Give us your Twitter handle and your email real quick, because we only have like 30 seconds. Where do you go?
Yes. Here's a big reveal. So I'm actually resigning from my position from teaching, believe it or not, and I'm not coming back. So here's your shocker. So I am actually going to, here's my reveal. I'm working full time with IHT Spirit. So I'm actually going to be working with them starting this summer. So you can get a hold of me with Brandon at ihtUSA.com. You can feel free to call me at 316-650-3839. Sorry to end it that way, but I figured if I need to get my contact, there it is. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it very much. It's been awesome.
Thank you
You
so
could have said
much.
that 20 minutes ago.
Hey, we're running out of time. Until next time, everybody.
All right.